Welcome to Tidbit Talkin. This is a series that consists of spewing out assorted thoughts which arose from somebody who thinks too much, taking in, and generally loving various entertainment media by the boatload. These tidbits may be little theories, observations, or simply jokes. Please bear in mind that all these ideas come from the perspective of somebody who's experienced every main story bit connected with whatever is currently being gone over. So spoilers will be here. However, other works set in a shared continuity will typically solely be referenced in a way that only makes sense to anybody who's also fully experienced those ones up until their same time occurring points. Sort of a coded nod kind of deal. Now, with all of that out of the way, here we go. Wily's medicine machine manufacturing might have something to do with developing newer robo-enza strands that could never be cured by anything. At least nothing modern technology consisting anyways. Goo gushing gadget would normally be used for temporarily plugging pipes and other miscellaneous hole-fixing shenanigans until more permanent patchwork could be arranged. In a similar vein, full-on gaps get gone when these twirling tin tubes fill them up and provide automated security hoopla until their own true tune-up replacements come into play. There are several steely shrimps stationed here because Mr. Pipes was tasked with ensuring the drain quality of a seafood company that likes to combine self-protection and advertisement, as one often does. Humpman's massacre upon successful shocking sheep storm striking seems mostly connected with that whole deal where those wackily common water solvents conduct much electricity. There may also be some cyber-psychological suffering going on, in the form of him imagining self-aware and operating manual hydro-pullers like himself getting completely replaced by absolutely automatic alternatives, particularly ones that are somehow powered by constantly charged, mundanely shaped turbines, rather than a good old-fashioned head handle. Flash frying fake flower's former formal function would be double duty, delivering both energy and protection to gardens containing highly valued plant life. Slowly splitting shooting slabs seems sorta like the prototype for an advanced option for temporary platform action that construction workers could utilize while building high walls and whatnot. They are all attack able, so falling debris or whatever can regularly be obliterated instantly. There's always a clear path available whenever break time comes. Solar Man, much like his freakily fancy floral friends, can store energy from starshine stuff. However, unlike his metal pedal-having comrades, who are exclusively dealing with typical daylight soap crap such as medicinal herb stores, this dude dunks darkness drenched up with some sweet shade-shaping shots, like powering an entire underground civilization or what have you. Anyway, water isn't just extinguishing the dude's fiery power source here. It's also dampening his self-charging panels and preventing further computerized metabolism junk from occurring. Snowman Machine's middle section's having eyes too, so they can check and make sure their proper needed parts are being brought when building-related whatnot's happening. Tiny Tin Trampler's typical trials must involve making stylishly smashed ice cubes for parties, restaurants, and whatever other situations demand them. Charging Chill Champion doesn't just junk him because of melt concerning stuff. There's also some overwhelming brightness action going on with his only built for handling clouded areas eye cameras failing at comprehending all that crazy brightness. There are extra traffic control bots present here because automobiles infected with robo-enza are incredibly dangerous, even before the amplified violent behavior stage. Running over shivering spikes slashes the first tire, reduces friction, which quickly leads to its partner suffering a similar fate, and then finally crashing crap comes about. When Proto's played, he simply mows down the enemy forces swiftly, while Mega Man trails behind him closely, collecting all those needed parts without any opposition whatsoever. This troop training Tin Titans targeting came about because Wily wondered if robo-folks who were all virus-infected with an extra aggression-producing super variant could still be kept in check by a commanding presence. Wheel Cutter's super effectiveness deal is mostly about disarming an explosive with precision wire slicing. There might also be some mental malarkey going on where this dude's getting overly emotional and all battle hampered because he's experiencing far too much pain drawing upon his ever-so-missed off-time hobby of drag racing. An armory-associated android's assimilation into the vile Doctor's sickly army would mostly be so. Fake fighting folks, not under Commando Man's orders, couldn't resist very well on account of being poorly equipped. Lacking access to things such as these self-defending fortresses would put a hamper on any army, even ones filled with folks who needn't ever eat or sleep. Also, the place is filled with weapons of many different cultures and eras, because training with so much variety can produce advantages, involving some throwing opponent's guard into disarray tactical awesomeness. Not only is this deal about superior technology prevailing over ancient weaponry, the unfocused heat would reshape his blade body into an improper form. Locker bots make sure stuff no longer gets stolen at sporting events. After all, profits greatly increase when purely fond memories come about and generate repeat visits. Also, it stops lawsuits from happening, at least when there's not a deadly virus making this kind of malfunction go on. Mammoth self-protecting goals are of course normally just for stopping invading balls, not causing murder. Strike Man's infection would provide much useful artificial disease effectiveness related info because of how many different machine types are around. What with athletes, concessions, security, and even cleaning contraptions being constantly needed for stadium life maintained. Hardball Hunk Highness's threads get cleanly cut because his typical pitch catch focus programming can't handle bizarre throws. Also, something about 3 strikes literally taking him out. Casually colored clumps, which quickly seemingly vanish into nothingness, might be downloadable demos for advanced 3D printing related whatnot. Emergency turbine bots must normally provide help by replacing downed pilots and other missing machine operators on the fly. The wraps around their heads may be tarps installed to cover them up whenever troublesome weather happens. These pupil packing pointers probably provided preposterously populated public places with some very flashy instructions for operating new software and other fresh on the market technical whatnot. Opponent obliterating oddball octopus over here most likely just announced with employees' lunch break would commence at whatever. Bravely bouncing balls vanish by-in BattleBot because their rubbery exteriors make him experience performance problems with energy focusing. Mega symptom experiencing coming so late could very well be the result of this virus originally being developed inside Base, whose design was copied from him. This would of course only be because Wily hadn't quite figured out how to make an advanced android specifically for horrible hack hosting. The weapons archive came about because Albert didn't want to fully rebuild old machines until he had a perfected virus to infect them with, but also couldn't risk having a completely defenseless fortress while trying to hide his not-cure-finding associated action at this commandeered repair facility. When the righteous red robot is selected, his sickness finally comes about after showing up here, because only a prototype variant is capable of infecting him. This version of the event doesn't have his brother falling ill, because only going through cleared-out areas made him much less exposed. Also, somewhat related, Dr. Light may have been studying his first creation quite a bit while working on the latest. After all, being all independent and virus-proof would be quite beneficial for that future dude in the long run. Giant enemy crab puncher's massive damage-generating weaknesses are Thunderwool and Commando Bomb, because Wily has a dark sense of humor that compelled him to make puns about literally storming beaches. Block Devil doesn't like force. Its only somewhat mobile CPU yearns for true graceful motion on account of how much fun normal kinetic action seems compared to stiffly reformed. Awful Albert added this little quirk on purpose because he wanted to know how he could reliably and effectively install some agony-causing traits into his viral creations. Solar Blaze melts Wily Machine's plating. Then the water shield, coming into contact with said molten metal, causes intolerable steam to get all up in his face. The Doodad Person Health Concerned Organization, Dr. Devious Disease, got into giving him that research center, also provide a space station upon request because he spouted a bunch of nonsense about how those ever-so-popular cosmos-exploring robots require aid that can definitely work anywhere they wind up. The dully devastating Drill Doodad skill is simply as a torturous viral administrator. The Chill Spike makes him even colder than usual because it renders his temperature regulation gear useless for a bit. The dude might also wind up hotter, depending on how much direct sunlight he's getting when struck. Face is whack. Base mixes up Cook and Coop because when Light repaired him in MM7, the wonderful old man used those same faulty vocabulary processing cards that made Mingman mispronounce his rival's name like a certain type of fish. This tread-toting terror shield doesn't get dislodged with a bountiful base busting because it's part of his arm, and thus it can't be dropped with trembling, only destroyed alongside everything else. The 3 Mega Man killers were meant to assassinate a helplessly hospital-housed Blue Bomber once his Robo-Enza had progressed to the most advanced stages. A few of Punk's attacks kinda resemble an older, never really mass-produced superpower. Perhaps there's some kind of poison-mimicking stealth kill consisting plan going on with the guy's mind brain, just in case certain infirmaries are too heavily guarded for direct assaults. Endings are a pain, but all of you are fantastic. See ya.